I don't like to cry at movies, but I cried a lot.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I hate that. Okay.
Oh.
I'm waiting for my cue.
You got your cue.
We're back.
Oh, we are back. Okay, so we're doing Shakespeare.
What's my motivation?
Okay, so now is the movie I chose. Remember, you can look below and find a trailer to it. If in our, what do you call that? What do you call that, George?
Under the description of our movie.
Our chingalera.
It's right there. Look for it.
In the chingadera.
Just look below the title.
Yeah.
Subtitles?
Yeah.
No,
The description. The description.
no, it's the
Where you see
trailer.
the movie, then you'll see underneath
We'll add the trailer.
the trailer.
We'll add a link
A
to
link.
the trailer in the
A
description.
link. Yes.
It's a link. We're going to have a link to it.
Okay, exactly.
You'll
Okay,
find it.
So
unless you're an
my movie
idiot.
was called The Man Who Invented Christmas, and actually George pointed this movie out to me, and I was like, "Wow, that sounds interesting." It was it's a biographical comedy drama. The story is taken from a book by the same name, written by Les Standiford, and it's the story of how Charles Dickens wrote and rescued his career and revived the holiday spirit from the dreary Protestants by writing after Oliver Twist. And he had 3 failures after that. So he was, and he had like a zillion children. So he was out of money and he needed it. So he began to write A Christmas Carol. But A Christmas Carol, at that time, Christmas was not really celebrated a lot. It was like I said, the dreary Protestants, they did not, and people, and his publishers were like, Christmas, why? And also, you only have 6 weeks until Christmas. And he was like, yeah, but he saw a guy at a funeral, and he was the only person at that funeral. And so he talked to the guy, and the guy said he was the business partner of the man who had died. And he asked him a question, and he went, humbug. Well, that kind of set it up for him. And then he starts to develop the book in his mind. And he's determined he's going to publish this book by Christmas. Nobody's interested because, first of all, nobody's interested in Christmas, and nobody can publish a book in 6 weeks. So he publishes it himself. And it's like, so this is his journey in writing A Christmas Carol. And the really great part about it is, as he develops the characters, they kind of stick around with him, and he talks to them, and they are like I don't know if you've ever done a creative project, but you know how it kind of develops itself.
Right.
The characters are developing it for him, right? It's really kind of funny and great until about the third, I would call it the third act, because it seems to happen in acts. You know, there's him thinking of it, him developing it. And then the third act is a little more serious because he has a nanny that takes care of all these children. And she's also can read. So he kind of
Forms a bond.
He kind of works things out in his mind by talking to her. And she was like, well, what's going to happen to one of his relatives has this child that is crippled for some reason. I can't really remember what it is. And so that becomes Tiny Tim. And she's like, well, you have to cure Tiny Tim.
Right.
And he's like, what? No, I can't. Scrooge isn't going to change. But really, it's him who needs to change.
Right.
And this goes in, so he has to go into his whole life, his old past, his whole problem with his father, his whole childhood, and to be able to write the final chapter, which he does. And so,
Is this real?
Huh?
Is this real?
yes,
Oh, I didn't know that.
it's a comedy drama, biographical, but he never wrote it. So we don't actually know that that's real.
Right.
But he did have a father he had a problem with,
Right.
who is Jonathan Pryce.
Who's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christopher Plummer is Scrooge,
Yeah.
in his head, Scrooge.
Thank you.
And the wife is amazing. She's a saint. And
They always are, Sue.
it's actually funny, serious, interesting. I just found it so interesting. So that's basically it. And what can I tell you? I love this movie. I don't like to cry at movies, but I cried a lot.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I hate that. Okay. So, Patty.
Patty's turn. Okay. So I found this very cute movie. It's like the concept was interesting. The Man Who Invented Christmas. I liked it. It was interesting. It kept my interest, which I was surprised because usually I don't like these kind of movies. But just as Four Christmases was cute, this is cute in another way. And it was just cute. It's worth seeing. It was okay. It was nothing major. It was just cute.
Okay.
Lawn.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Fast and Furious, babe.
You know, I actually like this movie. Out of all the movies, I think this is probably one that I thought, oh, this was actually rather interesting. Now, the problem arises because Dickens is probably one of my all-time favorite English writers.
Really?
Oh, him, Lewis Carroll,
Oh, yeah.
Jane Austen.
The Brits got it.
And though I'm not quite up on Shakespeare, I mean, these people wrote and they had like created fascinating characters in a time period that at least I think captures the time.
Right.
Now, Dickens in particular was a favorite because he supposedly based all his books on real life people that he met. In fact,
apparently
they
he
sort
did.
of, you saw the creative process in this movie where he keeps jotting down people's names. Like,
Right.
what's your names? And he's like, oh,
Like the waiter was
Marley.
Mr. Farley.
Marley, exactly,
That's
right. So it was sort of interesting. So I like that aspect of that kind of creativity, like you said, that you're seeing his work process come through. Ultimately, what I like the movie is because what Ebenezer Scrooge is going through, he is sort of dealing with on his own level. And that really
Right.
comes through, I think, like you said, in that third act. Because being an artist that even his wife points out how eccentric he is.
Right.
And it's true. It's like you see a weird creative, and again, whether this is actually his creative process, this is, I think, a work of fiction from this writer, but it's like, oh, it's sort of fascinating because what compels him to write, or why does he write, and why is it always about social things? And then I like the fact that they bring up his past and, like I said, his family and the things they had to go through and what he had to deal with. And then he has to sort of still write this fictional story and deal with his own family and everything going on.
Right.
And his business partner too. Now, like the Father Christmas is Back, this is loaded with all these character actors that you will actually recognize.
Absolutely.
I mean, there are almost every single face on the screen. It's like, oh, that's so-and-so. That's so.
Right.
And they don't have very big parts, unfortunately, but these
I like
are
that
all
part.
these great, great people.
Yeah.
Most notably, I thought Dan Stevens, was excellent playing Charles Dickens. I mean, he really does carry the movie, in my opinion, because I feel sympathy for him, and then I do get angry at him.
Mhm.
I mean, I actually, it's like, wow, what a likable guy, what a good guy. Then it's like, oh, what an unlikable person, or why is he behaving this way? And you realize this is sort of the life of an artist. They're so, when they are doing their art, everything else is out of the picture.
Right.
And I love the fact that I can't even remember the woman playing his wife.
I know my
Morphy Clark.
Oh, is that
I
okay?
wrote to this, I'm
Morphy
not sure,
Clark.
yeah.
Okay, it's Catherine Kate Dickens, right? She was the most, as far as dialogue and summing up his character, she's the one who had the most to say, because I thought she just sums him up so perfectly.
Yes,
Which is why you see them together and having so many kids together,
Right.
because she really does sort of know how to, I don't want to say tame him, but she understands how to
how he works.
whether placate him or rein him in or do anything. She said she I don't know whether, what to do sometimes because you say certain things. Because there are things he does that you wonder, wow, he just sort of went off the thing and just got rid of somebody or did this or did that. And it's like,
No, I agree. It's like he can be very
well,
he's very
self-centered.
charming,
Right.
and he can be very cruel.
Yeah. And childish in a way. But
He's
again,
married to a rock star.
Charles is
but
perfect.
Yes.
but see, I think that's if anybody reads Dickens, that's what's in his novels.
Right.
It does show you sort of the charm of family life, the cruelty of life that can happen. I really like the fact that, I don't know if people knew this, that he did have to go in a workhouse himself as a young kid because his father had to go to a debtor's prison.
A children's workhouse.
Yes, and that's the funny part too, because that's another thing he writes about is people going to debtor's prison at the time period. So they're really capturing, I thought, Dickens, his life, and then in construct of writing this one, which I thought was a novel, but they refer to as a novella because it was short of 5 chapters, right? But
5
like you said,
staves.
okay, Steve's right.
Excuse me.
But the funny part too was the fact that
Bless you.
you can understand it because yes, he had to write it so quickly. So anyway, I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed just again seeing the cast that was in it. And every one of the little cast, like he said, Christopher Plummer playing Scrooge.
Right.
He just sees him the one time. So that's the description of his character. He's got it down. All of a sudden, it's like now he's in his head. So now the character's being developed.
Right.
And you see other characters doing the same thing. And he's even using like his, I don't know if that was his agent or his attorney, the Justin Edwards character, who plays John Forster, one of, the friend he goes to visit.
He goes,
the
I'm just your
publishers.
friend or something,
Right,
so
right.
I don't think getting paid for
The
that.
fact that like he plays the ghost of Christmas Present, when you see him in his mind, right? So it's like, oh, this is, again, it's sort of interesting. So I would actually recommend it only because I will say this. I think watching the movie Scrooge, the Alistair Sim character,
I love him. He's the best.
that is to me like almost like a must see at Christmas for me.
Mhm.
That is one of
Absolutely.
my all-time
Mhm.
favorites.
And, one more-
And the reason is I love the message in that movie.
and he
you're
does
right.
it so well. Alistair
Mhm.
Sim
And
Yeah.
makes that Scrooge.
And I
the
think-
only Scrooge
I
you
think
see.
they also capture the time.
Yeah.
No, exactly. That's what I mean. They capture the time, but it's the sentiment of the writings. That's exactly how I like it. The fact that
Me too.
you can just make as much money as you want to and not have any friends, but where does it get you? And
Right.
and it's reiterated because even from his father's lessons about when you help people, you get some kind of gratification out of it. That's what I'm saying. This whole conflict with his own family he's dealing with at the time is really, as I think, a wonderful, Christmas message. So you're seeing that on top of him creating one of the greatest, well, probably
Story.
if not the greatest Christmas novel of all
The
time.
greatest
Right?
one. The
Yeah,
greatest.
there you go.
It's
Alistair
the
Sim's Scrooge is the
Well,
greatest.
It's
that's the movie. Yeah.
is the Christmas Bible.
Exactly.
Sure.
Even better than the Peanuts Christmas.
Absolutely.
Well, I do like the fact that at least the Peanuts Christmas still at least acknowledges that Christ is the reason that we celebrate Christmas.
Absolutely.
That's the only thing I always get disappointed about Christmas because it's always about commercialism and this.
Right.
Peanuts Christmas at least confronts that.
Yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie too. Actually, the fact that the characters who come up and talk to him in a way reminded me of Dream Child, your movie,
Yes.
where the characters who come up and talk to
Really?
the lady too.
Yes, I agree.
So
Mm.
it's another thing about a writer too. I think in a way the movie it's almost like he is Scrooge because he's dealing with his own
Mhm.
he's it's almost like he's writing about himself, because he is bitter about the
Father.
thing with his father, but the thing with his
Right.
childhood, the way he was brought up. He really has, I would say, an appreciation for poverty,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
he shows in his writing.
Yeah.
That's a big issue for him because he came from that. And also the and you're right, and the I really like the character. The Christopher Plummer, who was he's amazing as Scrooge. I was like, wow, that guy's serious.
He's great.
And Jonathan Pryce too. And you're right. He writes about the people that he meets. Like you see the
waiter.
the waiter or the guy that except with the guy that his child has a problem. He puts him in his books. I like that he runs. At some point in the movie, he runs into this cop, and his name is what's his name? Oh, it's Copperfield. Really?
Exactly.
Okay. So there you go. So the little things like that, you go, oh. So yeah, I really enjoy the movie. I love the magical part of it. And also how he, in a way, he's kind of, because in a way it's about him and he's Scrooge. How Scrooge dominates him. I mean, you see the movie. Scrooge is always. He pops up and he's telling him, "Oh, you're screwing up. Oh, what's going on? Look at you did it again." He's almost like he's self, but he's dominant self,
Yes.
and he's telling almost like inferiority complex, telling him how you suck. You look at it, you're screwing it up, and how he's kind of turning around when he's now like, no, I'm now Scrooge is afraid of. He's like, no, please, no. He changed it around like no, I'm in control here, which means that I'm telling you what to do, which means in a way I'm controlling controlling my own proudness or fears or whatever.
Right.
So that was a very psychological. It's and psychological, it's magical. I think that the reason they call it the man who invented Christmas because there's a lot of Christmas things that the book influenced a lot of people, influenced a lot of behavior, Christmas behavior. So the reason we do the things we do in Christmas is because of this book. People read this book. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I really love that character too. I like that the actor that Steven said was great.
It's interesting. I'm glad that I was the last person to review this because I picked up a lot of stuff from listening to you guys that I missed watching the movie. I found the movie pretty boring. In fact, I don't know what the equivalent of Hallmark is in England, but this was a Hallmark movie. And like when you're comparing it to the Alistair Sim, one of the things about that is the Alistair Sim movie was in black and white.
Right.
This is the cinematography in this is just very bland, sort of washed out and flat. And everything about it, like from the series stuff that you guys watched, the British series, I have no idea who any of these actors are. And if it was movies, I'd be recognized. I look at that and I say, "Where's Jim Broadbent? Where are all the people who I know, who I'm familiar with? Where's Timothy Spall? Where are they? These are
Well,
guys.
out of curiosity, are you familiar with Miriam Margolyes?
Oh, absolutely.
God,
okay,
I love her.
Absolutely,
that's what I was curious.
In fact, I wanted to mention her because you didn't mention her before.
Even in a small
And
part,
I know her from Little Dorrit.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's been in everything. I love her.
Well, have you seen the series that she's got on Netflix right now?
What's it called?
It's something like.
She was talking about it on Graham Norton.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen it.
It's her in Australia being like an old lesbian in Australia. It's a documentary series. But
I love
great.
that woman.
She's terrific.
Yeah,
But anyway, I mean, it's like Dan Stevens. I know Dan Stevens basically from Legion, and I thought I liked him in Legion a lot. I didn't think there's nothing. He was too contemporary for me in this.
Okay.
I didn't get the feel of the era. I didn't get the feel of the era from the cinematography. Also, like you mentioned, the guy named Copperfield. How come he never ran into anybody named Dombey or Chuzzlewit? Because we're not going to recognize those names as easily
Because
as
if he did, we would have a book.
But well, that's the
we
thing.
do.
Well, no.
Chuzzlewit and Dombey and Sons.
But see, that's the thing with Chuzzlewit. He mentions that it's already been written.
Chuzzlewit is the Chuzzlewit thing
that's in the past.
Chuzzlewit is important because the Chuzzlewit was the third of the flop books.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that immediately preceded Christmas Carol.
Right. Exactly.
And that's the one why they were saying, like, look, you're sending us these dogs. I mean, at that point, I think it was like maybe the fifth or sixth book he wrote, the Christmas Carol. And the only success he had was with
Oliver Twist.
Oliver Twist.
Right. Yeah.
And then he went on to write all these incredibly great books.
Well, that's what I say. I think Copperfield was probably next, if I'm not mistaken, after that.
Okay.
Could be. But
I tried to do it for the movie, so people go, "Oh, look at that!"
I mean, this would just. I mean, I
Shall we
didn't
make
connect
a
to it.
rating?
I didn't connect to this the way I wanted to. I didn't dislike it, but I just found it like rather boring. Like I said, I fell asleep, but I mean, I fall asleep to a lot of things. I'm old and I watch them late at night, but this was,
just saying,
watch it. I mean, that's the other thing I wanted to say. There's something called Canopy, spelled Kanopy, which is made available through the public library here in Los Angeles. I'm not sure elsewhere, but if it is, and what it is that they have great movies that are available for free. You can stream
just join the library.
If you have a library card, all you have to do is just go to your site.
Yes.
And this was one that was available, and at the time when we picked it as one of the ones we were going to review, you had to pay to see it on
Prime.
Right.
But check out Canopy because you're going to find a lot
of movies,
great movies on Canopy. And in general, the reproductions are sensational. It was a weird one.
They really do.
With this one, however, though, because at the beginning of the movie on the credits they were blurry and then they'd clear.
Yeah,
and then
that's true.
Yeah, but check out Canopy, Kanopy. Take your library card.
It'll save you a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay,
So are we ready to?
Oh, one last point. I was going to say that one
Okay.
funny story. When we first watched it, it was late, like 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning.
You fell
So
asleep.
I was nodding off through it because I was so tired. So I was like, okay.
And did a ghost appear to you?
No, I the next day at the gym, I was doing the elliptical machine. I said, I'm gonna watch it again, and I'm watching it, but I'm like, at the gym, I think, I'm sure like, everybody's probably looking at this guy. What the hell is this guy like standing there?
I did think that Christopher Plummer was wonderful.
I love him.
Okay, so Patty,
I give it a 7.
I give it a 6.
I'll give it an 8.
I give it a 10. I really suggest you watch it. It's really interesting.
It's interesting.
It's really interesting,
Yeah.
and it's really, like I said, I wasn't expecting that end part,
Was it?
but which
Well,
I don't know.
no.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You'd have to
Say yes. Say yes.
It's taken from a book.
No, I mean, there's no ghosts.
Right.
It is.
And there's
No,
no way
no,
to
no, no,
there's
it
no way
doesn't
to write
matter.
his creative process
But
either. So
you'd have to read the book by Les.
But you know what I like? As a musician, how the ideas come to you and you go, where the hell did that come from?
yeah,
What?
exactly.
How the ideas
Yeah.
come to you
Oh,
Yes.
and you go, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just really interesting, and the movie captured that too. It's like,
Well, I really
Well,
like that. After a while, the room was like full
Yeah.
of these characters that were all talking to him at the same
Right.
time. Right. And when people in his real life would come in, it's like, shut up.
Yeah.
I can't
Continue,
listen to all
so-
these people. Okay. So that will be the end of our Christmas
Podcast.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
Feliz Navidad.
God
Now-
bless us,
Kali-
everyone.
Kalikimaka.
And
God
remember,
bless us, everyone.
Happy
And-
winter solstice.
and remember-
For all Vikings.
Yes.
remember to like us and to subscribe. And let's see, what else can you do? I think
Buy
that's
us a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Buy us a cup.
Buy
yes.
us a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Not
Or
the
even
I
if
drink
you
coffee,
just
but the
give
other
us
I
a-
hit our Patreon
Yeah.
Give us a thumbs up.
page. I will try and make it get more articles on there, and
Interact with us.
So that's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Merry
Bye.
Christmas!
Merry
Merry
Christmas,
Christmas,
And Happy New
everybody.
Year.
Merry Christmas.
I love Christmas. It's my favorite.
I know you love Christmas.
I do.